Good afternoon, good morning, good evening from UC Santa Cruz, University of California, Santa Cruz. My name is Adrienne Bergenfeld. I'm an international admission rep here at UC Santa Cruz, and we have a lovely international student here. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name's Hailey. I'm a second year student. I'm from China, and I just changed my major to human bio and minor in chemistry. So right now I'm just having a bunch of stuff going on, like internship, clubs, and then and I live on campus as well.
Excellent. Well, how this is going to work today is we're going to go through this PowerPoint about undergraduate international admissions. We're going to talk about undergraduate admission, talk about where the school's at, how you get into UCSC. All this time I'm going to also be asking Hailey questions to tell us about her experiences here. If you have questions during the presentation, you should see the question box on your screen and go ahead and type those questions. We will answer all questions at the end of this presentation, so don't worry if we haven't gotten to you during it. But keep those questions coming. This is a great time. Also, we have a live chat going in College Week Live, and then also you can email us at internationaladmissions@ucsc.edu if you have questions that we don't get answered for you. So let's get started with this presentation. So the first question that we always get is, where is UC Santa Cruz? Well, to start off, what do you think of when you think of where UC Santa Cruz is?
I didn't really know much about Santa Cruz when I applied for the school, but when I look at a map, it's really close to Silicon Valley. It's only 45 minutes drive. So I really like it because I'm a science major, and so I think I have more opportunity. That's why I choose UC Santa Cruz. And here it's because right at California has great weather and not really that cold because it's at Northern California. And now we have sunshine, we have the beach, and it's really cool. I like it.
Perfect answer. Just to give you a little more specifics, we're about 75 miles south of San Francisco, about 350 miles north of Los Angeles, and about 30 miles southwest of San Jose/Silicon Valley, which Hailey mentioned.
Yeah.
Santa Cruz is a great energy city. We have a lot of beautiful weather. We have a beautiful forest. We have over 2,000 acres of redwood forest where we have deer walking through the campus, raccoons, any kind of animal you can imagine, and we have hanging out on the campus. So it makes you, we're in a good sized city, but it makes you feel a little bit removed, and it's a great place to study.
Yeah, sometimes I really get confused when I see a lot of deers running around, and when I walk back to my dorm, maybe 11 p.m. At night, I get scared because sometimes the raccoon just jump in. It's like, whoa, what's going on? Yeah, it's funny.
It's a very natural environment, which is why a lot of our students love it. It's a natural environment that is in a research institution that has giant impact, which brings us actually to our next thing, that UCSC is actually ranked second in the world for research influence. We're tied with MIT and just after Rice University. That means we are the second most referenced school as far as research information. So that's pretty impressive and something that we're pretty proud of. We're going to talk a little bit later on about research opportunities for undergraduates, and I'm going to go and ask Hailey here in a couple slides about her experience. Another great thing about UCSC is a lot of our rankings. So UCSC is ranked among the best colleges for computer science and humanities majors. We are 11th worldwide among universities under 50 years old. That's absolutely amazing, and we're super proud of this. And we get top quality students like Hailey here and other students. Another thing is we are ranked as having one of the top active students who participate in study abroad programs. So we have amazing study abroad programs offered in over 35 countries, and over the last 5 years, UCSC has had one of the highest percentages of students participating in these education abroad programs. And Hailey, aren't you thinking of going abroad?
Oh yeah, I've been doing a lot of research about studying abroad programs. So actually next fall, I'm going to study in Sweden, which is really nice. They have Like they only have English as a requirement, so it's easier for me. I don't really need to speak Spanish or Arabic here, so it's really nice, and I think it'll be great for me to go there. Yeah.
What will be the program that you'll be studying while in Sweden?
Because the university that I apply for, it's actually kind of a research-based university as well. So I think I can get to know like how's it to do research in another country. Yeah.
Awesome. So if you're wondering, as an international student, can you still study abroad in another country other than the U.S. once you're here? The answer is yes.
Yeah, although most of the people, they tell me, you're already studying abroad, why do you want to go somewhere else? But I just can't stay at one place for too long.
And that's a great experience. Good for you. So we're going to talk a little bit about our academic programs. We have over 60 majors here, 45 minors, 54 concentrations, ranging from things like psychology, human biology, sociology, the Baskin School of Engineering, which has one of our newest majors, the robotics major. And in fact, one of the cool things about this robotics major is we have one of the robots that we created is featured in the new movie Ender's Game. Did you know that?
Not really. Yeah, that's really fascinating.
So it's this robot, I guess, that does surgery, and it's featured. So that's just telling you about some of the great things that's going on. Absolutely fascinating. Some of our most popular majors are psychology, business management, economics, human biology, which is what you're in, right? And sociology, and then literature. Next, I'm going to turn this over to Hailey about undergraduate research opportunities. What's different about UCSC compared to a lot of the other UC schools? And let me clarify when I say UC schools. So there's multiple University of California schools. Some of the names you might be familiar with are UC Berkeley, UCLA, UC San Diego. We are all part of the UC system, and UC Santa Cruz is one of the top-notch research institutions within this whole system. One of the great things about UCSC is that we have amazing undergraduate research opportunities. Typically, as a student, you're only going to get to do that at the graduate level. Here, we really push for you to get involved. And Hailey, why don't you talk about your research that you're doing and also your experience with ACE, and tell us what ACE is.
Okay. So first thing is I'm currently involved in a graduate research lab. It's a wet lab. So wet lab is actually what you're doing like those experiments on. So what I'm working on is just like nail pipette and try to inject a solution or material into the cell. And or another project is extracting mitochondria from the cell and then do sequencing on the DNA and to see whether it change or not. And usually we work on the skin fibroblast cells and some cancer cell as well. So it's really fascinating to actually have hands-on experience in the lab instead of just learning it on the book.
That's great. Tell us a little bit about ACE.
Oh yeah. ACE, I just got back from my ACE section, so it's really nice. ACE is a program for a student who are dedicated and to success in the academic classes, academic life, And then at the same time it requires a lot of commitment. You need to go you need to spend extra time to do homework. But in the section, you have small group discussion, and then during discussion, you can actually find out the things that, actually I might not really know that. I thought I knew it, but now I know so by discussion, you can really find out which part you went wrong. Yeah, you went wrong. So it's really useful.
How did you get involved in undergraduate research? What did you opt to do to get into the lab?
Yeah, so at the beginning of the fall quarter, I actually involved in a lot of clubs. And then I try my best to go to those club meetings. So those are there will be senior student giving speech, and then after that is approach them, see, hey, I'm really interested in the research opportunity here, and I heard that UC Santa Cruz have a lot of research opportunity as well. Can you give me some contact information and then after a while I got an email from a professor, and then I went to interview, and then I got into lab and start training So it was really, really nice, and I was really lucky.
Awesome. So you were totally being proactive in finding that research opportunity.
Yeah, the opportunity they don't come to you. You need to outreach. Yeah.
Super. That is awesome. So that's a little bit about what Heidi's doing. Then to let you know, we have some internships available through a program called UCDC. This is an academic program which is kind of focused on a variety of non-governmental and governmental organizations, and this actually happens in DC. It's a great program. Pretty much anything that you think you want is available. You just have to be proactive and go and find it.
Yeah, actually, it's one of those link at the study abroad program, but it's not really abroad. I have a lot of friends that went to UCDC as well,
great.
and then they apply for internship there, and they really had great experience.
That's super. There you go, firsthand knowledge. That's the best right there. So what we're going to talk about, we've just talked about a little bit about the academics or research opportunities. We're going to move on to the residential colleges. Now, the residential colleges are kind of unique to UCSC. Residential colleges are what we consider a smaller living learning community within the larger institution. These are the places where you're going to live, where you're going to eat, and they don't really have anything to do with what your academic area of study is. It's more about what are your interests, what are your passions in life, and finding people with these similar interests. This is a great way to provide a sense of family and comfort outside of the regular classroom. Do you want to talk about, you've been part of two residential colleges.
Yeah. So last year I lived at Merrill, which is the college I'm affiliated with. But this year I moved to Stevenson because I want to try that how's the environment at another college. So it was so far it's been great. Yeah. So usually what residential hall the dorms are different from those living off campus is you get a sense of community, and there's a lot of fun activities provided by the college, so it's really good to get involved in the first year.
And what's the theme of Stevenson?
Stevenson, I think it's more about individual and the society. Yeah.
Awesome.
And so it's more about exploring the spiritual in oneself, the spirit in oneself. But Merrill College is more about global cultures and cultural awarenesses, which it's quite interesting for me as well because I come from another culture. Yeah.
So as you can see, we have 10 residential colleges. Each one kind of has a different theme. We've touched on two briefly here that Heidi's had experience with. One thing I do want to mention is as an international student, you do have a 4-year guarantee of housing. That doesn't mean you have to stay on campus for 4 years, but it is available to you. As a transfer student is somebody who's already attended university and will be coming here with university credits already in their portfolio. You have a 2-year guarantee of housing, so this is super important. Also, just let you know, all colleges offer dorms and apartment style living with options for triple, double, and single rooms. The residential colleges have themed residential floors. For example, in College 9, there's the I floor. The I floor is a residential hall that has a mix of international and domestic students. It's about 50-50. Most of the domestic students are students who have studied abroad and have an interest in intercultural living and internationalism and internationalization. So this is bringing people together who really have this passion and focus on learning about things outside their own country. And this kind of leads us into our next slide, which is about the international living community. This is one of our colleges or one of our rooms that is focused on globalism, global interest. The International Living Center is apartment style living. Amazing staff support that is familiar with working with students from different cultures, with working with students who are interested in going abroad, who are returning from abroad, and also great activities and trips. Some of the examples of International Living Centers, we call it ILC trips, that have gone on are trips to Disneyland, which is in Southern California, sporting events, going to the museum, going skiing in Tahoe, which is about 4 or 5 hours away, cultural nights, farewell dinners, speakers, international films. Do you have any friends who have lived on the International Living Center?
Yeah, I have a couple of friends who live there, although they're American residents, and for them is a great it's a great opportunity for them to learn from different cultures, and it's just a mix of people with different background. It's fascinating. Yeah.
That's great. Have you gone to any of their events that they've put on?
Yeah, actually tonight there's a international mingle event, I think. Yeah. So we have pizza downtown and it's for free and everyone just come there and chat. And after holiday we have some event like you can post your picture and then we will vote for the best picture and then you get different prizes. It's fun.
Awesome. That sounds amazing. We're going to touch a little bit more on the internationalization of campus and this week, which is specifically International Education Week, as we get to the International Student Services Office. So let's talk a little bit about things that go on outside of the classroom, whether it be internships, whether it be the Office of Physical Education, study abroad, which we've touched about, student organizations, student leadership opportunities. Do you want to talk about your experiences with any of these?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things going on in like right now, but for now I'm just taking a PE class, which is a dance class, and you can like they're not they don't have credits, but it's very good. You can take it at the gym, the Opera's there, so it's really nice. And then another thing, we have a recreation center as well. So what you need to do is you can sign up for other dance classes, and we have hiking trips. I just missed the one for to go to Yosemite.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's
the
cool.
Yosemite National Park. But they offer it every quarter, so it's really fascinating. And they have experiential leadership, which is a training for you to practice your leadership skills. And I took a couple of classes. It's really good. And we have all sorts of clubs like massage club, guitar club, surfing club, scuba diving. Oh yeah, I love scuba diving here. But it's really nice. You should try it. And but you need to pass a swimming test first. And another thing is I'm also involved in a lot of clubs because I really enjoy doing volunteer jobs. So this weekend, actually, I'm just going to Habitat for Humanity. So what we do is just building house, get hands-on experience, and for those people who cannot afford for the houses. So it's really nice to,
That's great.
yeah, and I just like the way you're working at the same time you're making friends. And internship, I actually don't have internship going on because I'm really busy already. So I'm involved in the lab and I need to spend up at least 15 hours in the lab, which it's a lot.
That's a lot.
Like yeah, during the academic year.
Do you want to talk about the Chinese Student Association?
Oh yeah, Chinese Student Association. We have a mix of people with different background, and then some of them might not that they are Chinese, but they're not raised in a Chinese background, and they're really interested to know more about the Chinese culture from like really someone who's from China. And then during the Chinese New Year, we have big celebration at we invite alumni and people with and dances and good food, good Chinese food, and a lot of people just come in and celebrate. It's really good. So I don't have to feel that lonely during the Chinese New Year. But at the same time, you can still drive up to San Francisco because they have parades there. It's really great, but I didn't really have a chance go there because of the traffic. Yeah.
Sometimes the traffic does take us a while, but that's great. So we have a lot of different cultural events. We have the Chinese Student Association, we have an Indian Student Association, we have also some of the other we have over 100 student organizations. We have Greek Life, we have the Student Organization and Advising Group. Pretty much anything you could ever imagine we have here. And also, if we don't have it, you just have to find one other student who's interested, and then you can start your own club.
Oh yeah, and actually, I have a bunch of friends that in the other like ethnic clubs as well. For example, Korean Student Association. They all have those how to make Korean sushi and how to make Korean food, and then a celebration that it's just so much fun going on. And the Indian Student Association, they have all those Bollywood dances, which is just eye-opening. Yeah, I was like, wow, they're really good at that. Like, and I really enjoy it. And Indonesia Student Association. Yeah, so there's so many things. Oh, and Filipino Student Association.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Wow. So there's a ton going on. You're not lacking for things to do here, which is really what's important to us. I think another thing to mention is that UCSC is also a Division III athletic school. So if you're interested in the typical athletics of basketball, baseball, cross country, water polo, badminton, we do have those kind of events going on, and you can either do those as a Division III, or you can go on and just do it for fun in your own little friend group.
Yeah, I have friends like there are a lot of people enjoying playing. No, you don't call it football, do you? You call it soccer.
Soccer,
yeah. Yeah. So a lot of people playing soccer, and then you can either join the school team or you can do intramural. So intramural is like more like recreation club, and it's not that intense. And this year, I have a friend. She's in the volleyball team that actually make it to the national.
Oh wow!
Yeah, national competition, which is it's a very great news.
Yeah. So we definitely have a competitive Division III sports team here, which is awesome. So pretty much anything you were looking for, it's here. Next is we're going to talk a little bit about supporting our students. What's available as far as academic advising, career services, health and safety. And I know Hailey's definitely taken advantage of some of this career services and the academic advising.
Yeah. So we have a lot of kind of advising. So one is the major advising. So it's about your major. You can talk about like any opportunity going on within your major, and then you can figure out a 4-year plan to see how you can graduate with your major on time. And the second one is the college advising. So college advising is more about the college classes. You need to take extra general requirement classes to make sure you can graduate with a diploma in 4 years. And we have career advising as well. So we have a career center here. You can go there and make an appointment with the advisor, and then you can see what kind of job you can apply for it. And we actually have a fascinating website, and then you can just explore any possible job you can apply for.
Great. And it's important to mention that even though as an international student you can only work on campus while you're attending school, that there are the opportunities available. We do have the internships, we do have on-campus employment. We have a lot going on, so you don't have to feel as if you can't find a job, because there are opportunities here. And we're going to talk more about after you graduate and the opportunities through optional practical training, OPT, and other things later on.
And actually, when you're planning to for any possible career, you can also go to the career fair that hosted by the career center, and then you can talk to different company, and then give them your information, and then they'll send you email, and then you can prepare for an interview, possible things. And then we actually have those interview training for you, so you can see what you need to do to prepare for your interview to make it the best. Yeah.
That is great. So there's a lot of opportunities for you, and we're not just going to throw you out there and hope that you can survive. We're going to provide you with the support and the services necessary. We also at UCSC have our own fire department and police department on campus, which makes for a very safe and healthy environment.
Yeah, because we're in the forest.
We're in the forest. That's right. We are in the forest, but we're close by the city. So the next thing is, as an international student, Hailey was mentioning this when we were talking, is you were interested in the services that are available for specifically international students. One thing we have is the International Scholar and Student Services Office. These are the people who are going to provide you with information as far as your visas, with what you need to do to stay in status to come here in the U.S. If you want to travel abroad, what you need to do so you don't get in trouble as an international student. What has your experience been with the International Scholar and Student Services?
Usually it's just regarding to my visa, because I am coming home during summer, and I want to make sure whether I need to apply for another visa when I come back. And then it's just a lot of issue, and it's confusing and stressful. But what I did was just to schedule an appointment and then sit down and talk to the advisor.
Great.
And then you can go through the whole process. And after that you'll be, oh yeah, it's just not that stressful as I thought it was. Yeah.
That's super. So the International Scholar and Student Services, the big thing is that they're there for you from an immigration standpoint to help you with your visa and make it clearer. But then other than that, they're there to basically provide opportunities and workshops for students. One thing that Hailey is involved with is being an orientation guide.
Yeah.
So every year we put on an orientation for our new students, and we have lovely students like Hailey helping us out.
Yeah, it's my first job here, and it's really great. And what I did was just helping out with the incoming international student, and it was a great experience to get involved. And actually, I can see myself from those international students. Yeah, I was exactly like that last year. Yeah, I'm really surprised like how much I have changed during the past year. Yeah.
That's great. We have a total international population about 500 students, with both those who have just started this term and those who are continuing. So 500 students. It's a small population, but it's a strong population. It's your opportunity here to be recognized as an individual. Yeah. You're not just a number here.
Yeah, actually, that's one of the special point. The things I love about UCSC is because we don't have a huge population of international students. So every time when I introduce myself as international student, everyone be, oh, that is so cool, you're international student, how do you get here? Yeah, so I really feel special being here. And at the same time, I actually have chance to talk to the American resident citizens, and I can really learn from their culture instead of just sticking in my own group. But I'm actually a friend with a lot of international students as well. It's just being here, I can actually I'm exposed to American culture, and I learn a lot from it.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. And that's really something that's big for us, and a big reason why Santa Cruz is so popular with international students is because you get that personal attention. You have the opportunity to meet students from the U.S., make lifelong friendships with students from the U.S., and it's mutually beneficial for you to learn from them and us to learn from you. I think it's a great thing. Another great thing about the International Scholar and Student Services is they offer a lot of pragmatic aspects. So we have workshops about employment, how to network, cultural topics. We have highly mentioned the International Mingle. So this week is a nationally recognized kind of event called the International Education Week. It's all about internationalization, events going on. We have photo contests. We have a mingle with the pizza tonight. What else is going on?
Actually we have some international, I think it's culture presentation, and some people they're dressed in costume and then show their culture, and it's really nice. And I think this week we also have another show. It's talking about Chinese culture. I think that I saw the poster. Yeah, it looks really interesting. So I just go there and watch some video and then see how's it like to be in another culture.
That's great. So we have the international films going on. Pretty much this week is really focused on our international students, our study abroad program, and the excitement of learning about other cultures and other students. It's great. It's high energy. I absolutely love it. And then other things that the international office does is they help to refer students to other services if they need it, whether it be counseling, academic services, disability resource center. Basically, they're there as your support team once you are here on campus.
So they can work. They can help you to work on your visa, your tax. How to
file your taxes,
which is very confusing for me to do.
It's very confusing for me, so don't worry.
And about like getting a job, how to make it legal.
Great. So these are all things. This is all about the support, the programs we have here at UCSC. Now we're going to go into a little bit more depth about the requirements to apply to UCSC. So, as a first time freshman, so you've never attended university, we're going to talk about that, and we call them frosh here. And then I'm going to talk about applying as a transfer student, so as a student who has already attended a university. Now, just to let you know, as an international student, you do need to have a GPA of a 3.4 as a first time frosh. You also need to have taken the ACT with writing or the SAT reasoning test no later than December of your senior year. Your senior year is your last year of higher secondary education. So this is confusing sometimes because your systems are a little bit different than the US systems. Don't be concerned. We have international specialists who are used to working with all the international education systems, and they know how to convert international marks to US marks and figure out what the equivalence is to the US GPA. So the most important thing you can remember is when you're applying to any UC school, mark down as your grades appear on your mark sheet exactly, and then tell us if it's out of 100, if it's out of 10.
Yeah.
So was it pretty easy for you to fill out the application?
Yeah, it was. I think it's just long, tedious when I was applying for it. But it just took a long time to go through it again and again to make sure I had it. But it's been like more than a year, so I don't really remember.
That's good, so it wasn't too bad. So right now, for those students who are interested in applying for fall of 2014, you have to have submitted your application by November 30th of this year. So it's super important to remember you have to apply a year in advance.
Yeah.
Now what we're going to talk about is what we call A through G courses here in California, but you probably know them more as preparatory college classes. So basically what you need to do in your home country to prepare to go to university. Even if it's in your home country, it's kind of the same thing that we need here. We're looking for students who are very well-rounded and diverse students. Students who can succeed in a higher education setting. So these college prep classes are history or social science. We're looking for 2 years. English or whatever your primary language of instruction is, 4 years. So if you're going to school in Korea and the primary language of instruction is Korean, you need to have taken Korean for 4 years. Mathematics. Now, here in the US, we're looking for advanced algebra, geometry, and higher than that. We're looking for at least 3 years. Now realize, these are all the minimum requirements. We definitely want you to push ahead and excel in these, get those high grades, and go for more years if you can. So next would be laboratory science. So this is going to be chemistry, physics, biology, and then we're going to move on to a language other than English, or as we say, a language other than the primary language of instruction. So if you're taking classes and if your Korean is your primary language, then you need to take, say, English for 2 years or another language for at least 2 years. Then the next part, you might be a little like, what? Visual and performing arts. This is super important. We want students that are well-rounded. We want students that aren't just fixated on taking that one area, but students who are kind of exploring and deciding where they want to go. And then the last one would be a college preparatory elective, such as, say, an extra year of math or history. One thing with history that I do want to mention is it's not required that you take U.S. history, but you do need to, say, take a history class of your own country. If a U.S. history class is available, please make sure you do take that, as it will look better on your application. So make sure you enter all these items on as they appear on your official records into the application, as I was stating. If you have questions, you can always email us, and we have specialists standing by ready to help you. So also, as an international student, as we talked about, you have to have that 3.4 GPA. You have to, just like the domestic students, go through a thorough review, and you have to have taken either the TOEFL or the IELTS. Now with the TOEFL, you have to have at least an 80 or higher, and the IELTS is 7. So how was it for you applying? What were you thinking about in high school when you were thinking about where you want to go to school? What classes did you want to?
So during my third year, So I'm a very science focused person. So I took chemistry, economics, history class, and then biology class, and then math. Yeah, I actually finished my calculus before I got here, which is really
wow.
good. Yeah,
That's
it
really
helped me
good.
helped me to prepare for my college math. Yeah, and then at the same time I was still trying to study for my SAT and TOEFL. It took a while. Can you believe when I first got here, although I already passed my TOEFL test, I still have trouble talking to people. And every time when I talk to my friend, they'll be, okay. But actually, they don't get it. They don't know what's happening, but it's kind of awkward for them to ask me, like, again.
Again.
But it really, so actually preparing for a TOEFL and SAT helps you with your personal and academic life in America. It's really good. So just study hard for it because it's really rewarding when you get here.
Definitely. And if you can see, as you see now, Hailey is an amazing speaker of English.
Oh yeah. One time I was talking to an international student, and after a while I talk in Chinese. Hey, you want to celebrate the Mid Autumn Festival with me? And then he was like, what? You're Chinese? And like, yeah, I'm international student. Came here last year. And he's like, I thought you were born here. You don't even have an accent. Like, I do have an accent. Yeah.
So I think that just tells you that this is a great place to practice your English,
Oh yeah.
become familiar with the U.S. culture, and also then to study abroad like we've talked about before. So now that you are putting together your application, you're probably wondering, well, how do we decide who gets in and who doesn't get in? Well, we use a holistic review process. So basically we view your whole application, and it's based off of a 14 different criteria that the faculty here have decided. So there's a lot going on. I'm not going to touch on all of these, but I am going to touch on a few. So definitely your academic ability is very important to us. Your grade point average or your total score overall. Your test scores, if it's the ACT and supplemental writing or just the SAT with the reasoning section. If you took any honors classes, if you decided to go on and do a science quiz or science bowl, if you decided to go and, pursue something additional outside of what your regular class would be. I think another great thing to mention is that we're really looking for students who have an outstanding performance in one or more academic studies or subjects. We're also looking for students who have special talents, achievements, and awards in a particular field. So if you were in a dance performance and you got a medal, if you were an artist and you received a medal, if you're an athlete, also if you're proficient in other languages like Hailey, that's super important too. So we are looking at how well prepared were you to come here? Did you get your college preparatory classes taken care of? Did you kind of focus your education like you wanted to succeed and you wanted to do well? If your grades started to slip, then is there something that was going on? And tell us why your grades slipped. These are all important things. I think it's important to note that your application tells us a lot about you, but it doesn't tell us everything.
As a person.
Exactly. The thing that really gives us that insight into who you are is the personal statement.
Yeah, it's really good. It tells us like what are you passionate about, what is your goal, like what do you want to achieve in 4 years in college.
That's awesome. This is a time, as Hailey said, to tell us about who you are as a person. When I ask students, if I just look at your GPA and what you did in school, does that tell me everything about who you are?
No, it's just a number. It just make you one drop in the ocean, so it doesn't make you that special. So what I did when I applied for UC Santa Cruz was I talk about how passionate I am in dancing. Although it doesn't really relate it to my academic life, but actually I learned a lot in dancing, and then I can tell what my person, like how I act and what I'm thinking when I'm dancing. So it's really good, like to help, and people every time they read my essay, they're like, wow, I really know a lot about you. Yeah, it's very special.
That's great. So this personal statement is going to be 2 prompts. It's going to be a total of 1,000 words total, and one of the freshman prompts was describe the world you came from. So, for example, your family, community, or school. So, these are just some prompts to give you an idea of what you can talk about. Start early on your personal statement.
Yeah.
Write it, write it again, write it again. Did you have anybody help read your personal statement?
I have some advisor in college, so what I do just proofread my essay to make sure there's no grammatic mistake, because it doesn't really look that great when people read it. And actually, when I was writing, when I start thinking about my personal statement, actually helped me to think, okay, what should I do with my life? Yeah, it's a very deep question. It's very broad. It might take you a lot of time to think, and 1,000 words might look a lot, but after I got to college, 1,000 words is nothing. Last night I just finished an essay, 1,500 word, and I finished it in 3 hours. So you need to get started. So 1,000 word is not as terrible as you think it is. So just tell us about yourself and try to make it specific.
Great advice from a person who's applied, who's been accepted, and has gone through this process.
Yeah, it was stressful because when I was in high school in China, I wasn't have much chance to practice my academic writing. So, but after that, I really have a good thinking about about myself and what do I really need to get from 4-year experience in college.
That's great. That's great info. This is some of the best information you can get. It's from the student themselves. So the next pathway that you can take if you don't come in as a first-time frosh or freshman is to come in as a transfer student. What you can do is you come in as an international student to one of our California community colleges or one of the other local community colleges, and you basically complete 60 semester or 90 credit units, and then you start to work towards applying to come to UC Santa Cruz. Most of our transfer students right now are international students who are attending classes in California at a local community college. Awesome education you're going to get there. Tons of other international students partaking, and kind of lets you figure out U.S. education before you really get here. Some of the important things to know about when applying as a transfer student is, as a non-resident of California, you have to have at least a 2.8 or higher. We're looking for you to have your core classes, which we call that 7-course pattern. So your 2 English composition classes, your math class, and then 4 courses from, say, either the arts and humanities, social and behavioral sciences, physical and life sciences. These are things we're looking at to have you as a well-rounded student from a transfer standpoint. Now, even though we're saying a 2.8 or higher, please realize our average GPA last year for students who were accepted was at least a 3.0. So aim for the stars and go for that 3.0 or higher. And that's super important to talk about. Another program through being a transfer student is called the TAG, or the Transfer Admission Guarantee Program. The Transfer Admission Guarantee Program is an absolutely super program. This is a way to get an admission to a guarantee of admission before the typical application announcement date of March. So if you're going to do the TAG program, what this requires is that you have completed at least 30 semester, 45 credit hours of transferable UC units. You have to have at least a 3.0. You can't apply if it's lower than a 3.0. You have to have less than 20 units of higher division. So if you've been taking classes, typically it's in the 300 to 400 to 500 level. We need to see less than 20 of those credits. You can have attended university outside the U.S., so don't be worried. If you were attending university in China, you can still apply for the TAG program.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a great thing. So tell your friends in China that even if they're going to university in China, they can still apply for the TAG program or for transfer.
But they better start studying for the TOEFL and SAT first.
Exactly. So TOEFL and SAT.
Those are super important.
Super important. You have to have an 80 on the TOEFL, a 7 on the IELTS, or as a transfer student, you have to have a B or higher in 2 English composition classes. So that's super important to know, as we do require English proficiency. One of the important things about transferring is major preparation. So what this means is major preparation is, if you're going to go into the sciences, take as many science classes as you can take. Make sure that you're focused on those things that are required for that degree. That's just one thing we'll really push. If you're not familiar with assist.org, this is a great website. This is a website where if you're at a California community college, you can see what courses transfer from your community college to the UC system. Also, if you are applying for what we call a selective major, you can see what courses are required in order to apply. So make assist.org your best friend. We talked a little about this about applicants with international academic records, the TOEFL, the IELTS, the 2 English composition courses. So we're kind of going to fly by this slide.
It actually just tells you how prepared you are for your life. Yeah, whether you can communicate with people, you can really know like how to talk with each other, and then yeah, it just shows how prepared you are.
That's great. Yeah, totally true statement. Now, applying for admission, we mentioned this at the beginning. If you're applying for fall of 2014, you need to hit submit on that application by November 30th. Now, if you're wondering where this application is, we do not take the common application, and it's a University of California specific application. You can find that at universityofcalifornia.edu/apply. This application opens every October, and then you could submit it as soon as November comes along. So if you're waiting for 2015, then October of 2014 you can start filling out that application. There is an application fee of $80 per each campus you apply for, and so that's just something to be aware of. You can apply for each of the 9 undergraduate campuses, but you do have to pay that $80 9 times then.
Yeah.
Alrighty, the next question I always get is, tell me about financial aid. Financial aid for an international student is definitely something that sometimes you struggle with, as you cannot apply for federal financial aid. This is something that we're going to talk about first, the numbers and how much it costs here, and then I'm going to tell you about a great opportunity that's for UCSC specifically. The financial aid office is a great place to go and look for any scholarships available for international students, and if you just have any questions. So let's just talk about it and get it out there. The numbers for UCSC as an international student, if you're living on campus, is $55,626. Now don't freak out. This isn't just tuition. This is covering everything you would need in an entire year, which is actually pretty awesome. So tuition and fees, food and housing, books and supplies, any personal expenses, health insurance. All students, whether international or domestic, are required to have health insurance in the state of California. So this is an expense that is just across the board.
Yeah.
And that's going to bring you to a total of $55,626.
Yeah, and actually, I think you can lower the cost of housing by living a triple dorm as well. So you can think about that. And actually, health insurance it's really good as well. So because I pay for my own health insurance, so I can just walk in the health center here and then take flu shots, and then it's covered. And sometimes, and for students, I only need to pay for $25 for a quarter, and then I can go to an optometrist, and then I can get my eyes checked, and it's free. Because
that's great. Because U.S. insurance is medical is so expensive, so it's absolutely imperative to have this insurance. So you're only paying $25, which is a great deal.
And sometimes the medicine are covered by the insurance laws, which is fantastic. I don't even need to worry about should I take it, because I heard that Americans have very expensive medicine.
Yeah, so it's great, and it's good to hear that.
Yeah.
Another way is, if you're a little bit concerned about the prices, you can live off campus. That's an option. You can live in a house with other students. You can live in an apartment. And if you are living off campus, that's going to take it down to about $52,365.
Yeah, that's a lot. And you can have kitchen there, and then you live with your friend. It just takes a while to go on campus to go to classes, but actually you can enjoying American life.
We also, at UCSC, we have a bus service through all of Santa Cruz, and with your student ID, you can use that bus for free. And so that helps you get onto campus, get around the area.
Yeah.
One great thing as an international student is we have the Academic Dean's Award. The Academic Dean's Award is as a first-time freshman, it's $20,000 throughout your 4 years of education. So it's kind of broken down to $4,000 your first 2 years and $6,000 your last 2 years. If you're coming in as a transfer student, it's $10,000 between the 2 years. The great thing about this is you don't have to apply. You don't have to do anything specific about this. If you are accepted, you are given this award. If you maintain a 3.0 GPA or higher throughout your years at UCSC, you will continue to get this award. So this is something specifically for international students and students who don't live on, who aren't from the state of California. Alrighty, so you've heard Hailey and I talk all day. You still want to know more, you want to get connected. The Slug Connection is the best way to get connected. You can go to admissions.ucsc.edu/prospect and sign up for our Slug Connection newsletter, which is going to tell you about opportunities going on with UCSC representatives who are in your area, financial aid and scholarships, majors or career paths that interest you, student organizations. A lot of great information is in the Slug Connection. And then you'll see our top 2 slugs, Chancellor Blumenthal and Sammy the Slug. The banana slug is our mascot.
Yeah, another fun fact, another fun tradition in UCSC is when you see your first banana slug, you need to kiss it. Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, it's very lovely, and after a while we all love Sammy the Slug, and we're so proud of slugs. I mean, it might be weird because before I got here, I actually looked up online like what is a slug, and actually one of the top 3 weirdest mascot in U.S. university. And then after a while, but I just get used to it. I love slugs. I really love slugs. Yeah.
And you can't miss them. They're in the redwood forest. And they're bright yellow, and they help maintain the health of the university, and they're different, just like the students of UCSC, different, and they're so important to culture and society. So other ways to stay connected with us at UCSC is to email us at internationaladmissions@ucsc.edu, to give us a call, join with us on Facebook, Twitter, or to talk to us on College Week Live right now. If you have specific questions, don't hesitate to email us even after 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I want to say thank you for tuning in to us. We're going to stick around if you have any questions. And otherwise, this has been a great opportunity. We look forward to you becoming a slug.
Well, thank you so much, Hailey and Adrian, for really sharing all of your experiences with our prospective students here during College Week Lives. For those of you who are watching us now and you have any questions, please feel free to type those into the chat box. We have probably around 7 minutes left, and we would love to hear from you. We also just want to make sure we have a couple questions come in while the presentation was happening, so we want to answer those questions too. And one of the first questions that a student is asking is, how do you get home during holidays and breaks? So how do you get to the airport? Do you go home? What's that like for you, Hailey?
So you can go to a website on the you can search to get a cab, but I wouldn't recommend because it's a long drive and it's going to cost you a lot of money. So what I did, I just take the bus and then the train. I can go to San Francisco International Airport. It take me around two and a half or 3 hours. But you can also carpool with people, and then you can split the cost, and you can ask your friend to give you a ride. And then, and you can, I think they have some transport, like airport transport system available as well. You can pay for that, and they'll pick you up and take you to your airport.
We have an amazing ride-share program on campus. It's online, and you can go and put where you need to go to, and you can also put if you're driving somewhere. And there's always people going to Northern California, to San Francisco, to San Jose, to Southern California. And you can, if you want to be a passenger, you can say, hey, I'll pay you $20 for gas, and then they'll drop you off. So there's really not an issue with getting places here, because there's always people who are going
everyone's
somewhere.
really chill.
Excellent.
Another question from a student who's asking, how do I know if the classes I'm taking are meeting the qualifications for the University of California as a first-year student?
Can you
they-
say it again?
So they really want to know. They're asking. They're taking classes in their secondary school,
Yeah.
and they're not certain. How do they know if they're taking the right college prep classes to be admitted?
Another, I think maybe they can.
In your high school, yeah. Who
In
did
my-
you go to make sure that you were like on
Mhm.
track to apply to a U.S. school?
I just like tried to check on the list, and at the same time because my high school was international school, so but most of the people they go to UK, so it wasn't a very good US support system. But all I need is just look at the class. Yeah, it was very confusing for me, and then I would try to. Oh, and at the same time, you can also go to the international student page. You can search on Facebook and then try to ask questions. There are a lot of people who have similar experience and answer a question as well.
Definitely, and I think another great resource for you is to utilize your college counselors at your high school.
Yeah.
To utilize our Facebook. To we have student profiles online on our website, like students like Hailey, and ask them, well, what kind of classes did you take while in high school? Really, the thing is to know is that you need to be taking classes that'll get you into the university in your home country. If you are taking those classes that will get you into the university in your home country, then those are considered college preparatory classes.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't have a problem getting into getting into what we consider the university here.
And just remember, we have those international specialists who are trained in different educational systems and really know how to evaluate your particular record and evaluate whether you're meeting equivalencies for the University of California system.
Right.
There's also representatives like Adrian who are
Definitely.
working with students, so you can always email us at internationaladmissions@ucsc.edu and ask more of your questions, and we'll help you walk through this process. We'll be those advisors internationally for you.
Definitely.
Oh, that's great.
I think a question I have for you, Hailey, is why did you choose UCSC?
Oh, UCSC, because I'm from a big city, so I'm really tired of those like concrete buildings. And UCSC is really fascinating. It's in the forest. It's kind of in the forest, but at the same time facing the ocean. So it's very amazing view all the time. And every time I just walk through the forest and then go to the library, go to my school, I really love it. It was a very great experience. And here has great weather and it has a lot of opportunity going on. It's not like I'm having a vacation. No, I'm actually really busy and stressful for most of the time. Yeah. But so, and at the same time, it's really close to San Francisco, close to Silicon Valley, and there are a lot of like good restaurants nearby. You can just drive up there. It's really nice. It wasn't like I wasn't feel that isolated or.
That's good.
So yeah, I really enjoy my time here.
And to think you still have a couple more years and you still have so much more planned to fit into those 2 or 3 years that you're gonna.
And if you ever think that you want to change your view, you don't want to stay in the forest, you can actually go study abroad and then to see, oh, how is it like to in another city and then come back. Yeah, it's really great. And now I still, although I've been here for a year, I still keep sending pictures on campus to my family. Look at the deer, look at the raccoons looking through the trash can. It's so funny. It just, there's a lot of things going on, and I still love enjoying the view. I wake up and go to run on a track and then look at the ocean. Is fascinating.
Absolutely wonderful.
Well, we only have time for maybe 2 more questions, and we have a question coming in from a student who really wants to know, does UCSC have any scholarships or ways that we financially support our international students? And I know we talked about that a little bit, but do you want to just share any more advice?
Definitely. Well, I'll talk about it and see if Hailey has anything else to add. So we have the Academic Dean's Award, which is definitely a great thing for international students. Another site that I point you to is internationalscholarships.edu or .com. It's a website for students who are studying abroad or studying outside of their home country. And this is, I can't guarantee that there's scholarships available, but this is a great resource to use to see if there's anything out there for you. Another thing is a lot of the governments of your home countries do provide scholarships. So you might want to check with them and see if there's scholarships to study abroad.
Yeah, actually I have a friend, he's from Thailand, and his scholarship covered a whole full tuition from the government, like in Thailand. So it was really good to have a try to see whether you can save some money.
So there's those opportunities. If you find anything else, then definitely apply for it. But those are the primary ones that we have right now.
Excellent, excellent. And this is going to be our last question. Thank you again so much for joining us and sharing all this wonderful information. And the last question comes from a student who really wants to know from Hailey, what's your best advice for other international students who are applying to the University of California system and to UC Santa Cruz? So what's your best advice that you have for students?
It just keep an open mind and then practice your English because it's really important for your life here. And at the same time, just, good at swimming because there's a lot of swimming programs here. My best advice is just to do more research about how life is at California, in California, and then for college, you need to success in your high school class so you can actually catch up with other people here. But my best advice is practice your English is very important.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Hailey, so much for coming with us today on this wonderful voyage through UCSC, being here for all the students out here who are watching us. And we look forward to getting those applications. Hit submit by November 30th if you want to be here for September of 2014. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
Yeah, have a good day.
Good day.